Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
This is Roger Chen from University of San Francisco Center for Business Studies and Innovation in Asia Pacific. Welcome to our interview program. First, we want to thank Geek House to host this interview. And this is a very unique venue where Facebook or Meta was founded several years ago. And in our today's interview, we want to welcome Brandon Wang from Synopsys. And Brandon, first, thank you very much. Would you please briefly introduce yourself?
Yes, I've been in Silicon Valley for more than 30 years, right? So I started with the designers. Currently, I'm in the corporate strategy group at Synopsys. I was very fortunate to caught the internet boom when Silicon Valley moving from silicon to internet. And later I was with a company called ARM. We make the technologies that enables the mobile era. So again, very fortunately, grow with the mobile and see the valley from silicons to internet to mobile applications. And in the last 6 years with Synopsys, I'm focused on the corporate strategy, look at how a company sets strategy and enables both organic and inorganic growth.
Thank you. And also, I remember correctly, you are the vice president from the CEO office of Synopsys, yes, right? And in charge of corporate strategy, which is great.
Ways large companies work with and support startups.
You know, Silicon Valley has many startup companies and entrepreneurs. They are interested in knowing how to work with large corporations like Synopsys, right? In other words, from your perspective, large company perspective, when you decide to partner with startup companies, what factors do you consider? What's the criteria do you use when you evaluate and cooperate with the startup companies or entrepreneurs?
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, we kind of look at it. There's different types of startup company. If you look at the company, how a company grows, they really have a few instruments. One is to make and develop product themselves. We call them make or build. The second one is through acquisition, buying other companies. The third one is investment. If something that's in the longer horizon, maybe investment is best or better instrument. And then the last one is partnership, right? So back to your question is there are different types of startup that a large corporation should engage. One is the startup that later on will grow into a larger one in a category of customers.
Oh,
so those are the
customers.
Exactly. So we have, our our core business, I would say, is serving the silicon semiconductor industry. So if someone started, let's say, a design house to do silicon design, that they can develop into our customer base. So that's one type of startups. The other startup is that actually is more towards the partner side, is they're developing could potentially either a competing technology or they developing a technology that filling the gaps of the spectrum that we already have. So these are companies that also, I usually call the developers communities, right? So started with very small, but they could grow and then they could potentially become our partners in terms of providing solutions, and also a partners that leads to technology license and all sorts of things, right? So that's different category.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Right? It's different startup. As a larger corporate, we have to deal with these different type of startup in a different way.
That's very good. So maybe, it makes a lot of sense, range from potential customers to partners and to investment acquisition. Maybe could you briefly kind of give us high-level overview, about the criteria for each category, if you can?
I think that's really, being Silicon Valley for 30 plus years, really the core is really about the team. So we always look at, say,
I mean, the team of the startup companies.
Yeah,
that's very important.
It's very important. So let's talk about the semiconductor company, which is a startup community that could potentially become a large customer of us. As I mentioned, that we went through, the 70s, 80s, 90s of Silicon Valley being the primary silicon, moved to the internet era. And then decades later, moved to the mobile application development as Silicon Valley expand through the peninsula, connect to the city, because as the content app development, the cultures, the other elements, ingredient become more important.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not just about technology. There's art. There's other things. So to this era, we have seen this whole Silicon Valley ecosystem that's serving different things. But in the last 2 or 3 years, I would say Silicon Valley we've seen back into silicon. We call it the renaissance of silicon, because driven by AI. So we have seen the number of startup or the startup gets funded has drastically increased in the last couple of years.
The number, you mean?
Yes. We have $5-6 billion so far for this year that's invest in silicon startup.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Just that category.
Yeah, just that category. So we call it the Silicon Valley, the renaissance of silicon. And silicon will be more pervasive into all sorts of applications. So given that, we do see a large potential that the large number of silicon startups, that some of them will develop into to become a bigger player. Right? So we definitely, as a company, we support that startup communities. Right? We work with, for example, give an example, we work with incubators for a very early stage startup. So they have a place that be able to get Synopsys enablement, such as IPs and tools that they can give them a head start. We also offer.
You mean Synopsys give them tools, give these startup tools to help them to grow and do their business.
Yeah, the agreement is we give this tool to these incubators, so that the early startup company can actually develop their idea early stage with the incubators, and they have access to the utilities and IPs and tools. Yeah. So that's one way. And the other ways that we do, we also have a so-called the cloud program for startups.
Okay.
So if a startup, let's say you don't have been joining an incubator, but you still want to have access, and sometimes the cloud program could be a better fit in terms of it provide instant enablement.
Oh, okay.
It needs much less setup. It does not really cost you less cash. Because cash flow is important for startups. Right. So they be able to go as we call it, use as they go.
Use as they go, right.
So but you still be able to enable the startups to start easier to start, right? So these are the things that we put out and support the silicon startups, right? Now back to the second category of startups, that there are so many smart people out there that they try to figure out the new algorithms, new applications to support the silicon designers. Right?
Okay.
So, you know, we are in a business of called EDA, electronic design automation.
Yeah.
So it's all about provide a certain algorithm, best algorithm fit for certain applications, so that the end IC designers be able to quickly to get their product, you know, to the market. So in that process, there's many innovations, and we also support those type of startups as well.
Okay.
We want them to be successful, and if they are really being successful, they could be part of Synopsys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it allows Synopsys to enter the new verticals, new applications.
Exactly. I mean, there's no way that you can always cover the entire spectrum.
Yeah.
So we usually call it the tuck-in deal that we do acquisition. Primary is to, you know, to have a technology be able to enable us to provide an integrated solution to our customers.
Thank you for watching.